Florida Panthers, Vamos Gatos, the Publix, Link Logistics, our friends from Morgan Stanley, Commissioner Daniela, all right, and gosh, if I missed somebody, I'm sorry. I tried to get the list in beforehand. But I also want to go ahead and thank my partner in life, Denise Rodriguez. All right, she's the better half. If anybody likes me, it's probably because of her. So the honor guard came up, and I wish they had left the flag, right? Because I was gonna comment about that. I mean, the U.S. flag is just something special. I don't have the eloquence, to communicate the deep emotions that flag engenders for myself, and I'm sure every vet in here, as well as any American, there are times that you've seen the flag and it's made you choke up. But the red and white contrast stands out, all right, and the stars, okay? Did you know that the stars have a deep and special meaning for every service? For instance, our youngest service, the Space Club, all right, they're reaching the stars. Our soldiers and Marines, we sleep under them. Navy, Coast Guard, okay, sometimes they navigate by them. And the Air Force, the Air Force selects hotels by them. There will be more branch jokes. In all seriousness, it's a tremendous honor to be asked to speak at any veterans event. Okay, you see I'm a unicorn, or maybe a weird duck. Someone who returns the shopping cart. A millennial who owns a house, all right? A cat who answers a name, all right? Or a phone battery that lasts all day. I've always wanted to be a soldier. You could look at my first pair of combat boots and hang them from your rear view mirror, all right? When I was 6 years old, my first book fair, I selected John Toland's Battle of the Bulge, all right? Because there was a soldier in the snow on the cover. And my teacher said, "Willie, you don't know how to read." I looked at her and said, "I'll learn." 4 or 5 years later, I read a book called The Long Gray Line, and I decided in 5th grade I was going to go to West Point. My classmates, other kids didn't even know what that was. And I had, my dream came true, as it was the only school I applied to. Kids, don't do that, all right? Don't only apply to one college. By the way, when I met my wife, okay, and told her I went to West Point, she later admitted she never heard of the place, okay? But she waited until after we were married to tell me. In any case, I'm feeling a lot of pressure today. Bets, I'm going to try and make you proud. Family, friends, supporters, let's hope I don't embarrass myself. Now, Allison reached out about 2 months ago, okay, and asked me to go ahead and speak. I hope you don't get fired after today. I have been studying and putting together a speech for this event, and I got it down to about 90 minutes without questions. Okay, so but a little bit about Veterans Day. The holiday dedicated to celebrate, commemorate living vets. Unlike Memorial Day, which commemorates those who made the ultimate sacrifice. It started as Armistice Day in 1919, right after World War I, and commemorating the end of one of the costliest wars in the world at that point. Today, it's celebrated as Remembrance Day, 11 November, still in Europe, and it equates to our Memorial Day, which came out of the ashes of the Civil War. The late 30s, 11 November, became dedicated to world peace. And World War I was called the war to end all wars. In the 50s, President Eisenhower recognized the national movement, and the day became Veterans Day, as we recognized, again, 1954. All right. By the way, yesterday was the Marine Corps' 250th birthday. Let's give them a hand. That's a lot of crayons, okay? Jar heads, okay? Just so you know, I wasn't clapping because of your 250th birthday. I'm just impressed you're here after that hangover you had from last night's party. My mission today, 6 minutes, deliver a thoughtful, entertaining, inspiring, two-edged message. Okay, a message for veterans, a message for those that support, appreciate, and even love us, because love is truly blind. My fellow veterans, why did you choose to serve? Okay, there's a multitude of reasons. Some of us, school, others, adventure, some wanting to leave home, others wanting to travel, do something exciting. Or maybe the judge said it was that or jail. Anyway, we all served, and in serving, we learned a profound truth. It wasn't about us. Serving is never about us. It's always about others. And so we learned. We learned our skills, our trades, to do them in faraway places. At times, we would rather not, and in conditions that were unpleasant. Very depending on the branch. Okay, and specialty, but in those days, weeks, months, years, and sometimes decades, the why of serving became about the man or woman next to us. You learned what it meant to serve. Some of those times made you smile. Sometimes laugh. Some made you cry. And some filled you with a deep, intense pride that made your chest swell. And then there are times that plain sucked. Well, we just had lunch. I'm not going to go there, all right? But I got some bad news for you guys. You might have a DD-214, but it's not over. Your oath did not have an expiration date. And while you may not have to get up at 0500 anymore, 10 a.m. in the Air Force, you are still being called to serve, okay? You were taught to endure, get along, achieve, and lead. Keep doing those things. Continue to give back what our fellow citizens invested in us, back to them. And, of course, our country. Now, I've made a couple of jokes about the services. I want to make sure I spread the love, all right? So, why is the Coast Guard not afraid of pirates? They see Morris on Miami Beach during spring break. Okay. Each branch has a military ball. Army ball, Navy ball, Marine Corps. It warms my heart to know that one branch will be having Spaceballs. Okay. Army, the acronym. Ain't ready to Marine yet. Okay. Marine, the acronym. Muscles are required, intelligence not essential. Navy, never again volunteer yourself. Now, a message to those that love us and support us, to our supporters, not to be confused with athletic supporters. Okay? Thank you for everything you did, do, and will do. It means so much, and when delivered right, can be so deeply touching. When I wrote that last night, I started tearing up. You are often the reason we signed up, often the reason we stayed, and often provide context for why it was important after we left. So I'm going to give you a tip on how to say thanks. First of all, it always makes me uncomfortable. Vets do not join to get thanks, unless they're maybe a politician. Okay. But I would have paid for the experience to serve. I mean, gosh, really, I got paid to jump out of airplanes, okay, blow things up and hang out with cool guys. So we never joined for the thanks. Often we told, thank you for your service, okay. My answer is thank you for paying your taxes. I had a great time. But it makes us uncomfortable. My advice to you, if you really want to thank that, don't say thank you for your service. It's become a virtue signaling cliche. Ask a vet on the side and quiet, because we joke about it. We look at each other and we say, thank you for your service, and we wink. And that's because it's become the typical response. As soon as a stranger finds out that you served. Okay, this does not apply to you. Okay, you didn't have to be here today. You took some time, all right, besides the pre-lunch, okay, but to come out and share with us and celebrate us. So this doesn't apply to you. I understand that, and it's difficult sometimes to say thank you because it's hard. But you're genuine. I get it. Some other ways to say thank you. All right, just say thank you. My wife last night was at Publix without the $30 gift card. And she passed a gentleman who's wearing a Vietnam veteran's hat, and she nodded at him. She went back and she said, "Thank you for your service. I don't know you, but I really appreciate what you did." And it really impacted that veteran. Another thing you can do is just ask a vet what service they served in, and tell them it was great, okay? Except if it was the Air Force, all right? Just wink and nod, okay? Or ask where they served, okay? Those are just some things you can do, to thank a vet and actually show, that you really are genuine and sincere about it. Bad news. It's not over for you either, okay? You want to really thank a vet? Be an American worth serving. Do things just because. Be the inspiration to bear a burden, sacrifice what's important, or persevere through adversity. Just be an exceptional person. You already are. By the way, about the Air Force, and I'm coming to the end of my comments, all right? They're easy to chide, okay? They're easy to make jokes about. But they're playmakers, okay? World War II, more airmen died in Europe than Marines in the Pacific. In my personal experience, I've witnessed everything from A-10s up to B-52s drop ordnance. It is awe-inspiring. I remember the pounding the Air Force delivered the first time my unit had contact in Iraq. There is no Air Force like ours. Thank you, Zoomies. Thank you. Service etiquette. It is not cool to make a joke about a service if you didn't serve. Exceptions, all right? If you have a close family member in that service, okay, we'll give you an alibi. Or if it's the Air Force, because those are always fun. Okay. This is a good day, veterans, to think back about some times that made you feel special. And I served 24 years in uniform, and traveling the world, 20 countries, commanding units from 40, being a deputy commander for 1,000 Cadet Regiment, an infantry company in Iraq. There are just tons and tons of times. And I would bore you, and it would be a long time if I started sharing them. But basically, anytime something was hard, watching soldiers perform and afterwards be ready for more was awe-inspiring. And just a special, how could you not love those guys, and girls? Take a moment, today to think about some of those times, all right? I want to thank you for your attention and the occasional chuckle. I hope that said something that made you smile, that made you think, made you proud to be an American. I'd be happy to shake your hands afterwards, okay? The Air Force guys especially, okay? And if you'd like to hear more penetrating witticism, titillating insight, please reach out to me or my wife Denise. We're available to do events like this, parties, and of course bar mitzvahs. Okay? Have a happy Veterans Day, okay? But isn't every day Veterans Day? Okay. Thank you.